Okay, episode 2.
Wow.
Life comes at you fast.
Sure does.
So I think we just need to get going here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of good things to go over.
Oh my goodness, he's just pulled up the notes.
So I think we're gonna just the fun part here is we're gonna just kick it off right out of the gate with a little bit of FU. Okay, that's listener follow up.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sure.
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think the first overwhelming bit of feedback we've gotten is that people don't want us to be on a watch list based on last week's content.
And I take responsibility for that.
Right. So
but,
I think
yeah.
Well, we're gonna be a little bit more thoughtful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure.
Definitely got to be more thoughtful.
So I think that's good feedback, frankly.
Yes. Appreciated.
Right. I think the other little bit of feedback we got is we need to do a little more grounding for the audience as it relates to local sports teams.
For sure.
Right. So Robinson is Robo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one enemy.
Okay.
Jokes.
It's not that we're not in that segment yet.
All right.
So,
My bad.
All right. I think any other follow up from any listener?
Well, I was just thinking some people may be confused. Whoa, what's that music at the beginning? Do you want to talk about that?
We definitely should talk.
We got to talk about it.
Yeah, we should.
Really cool. So, you want to tell it?
Well, I think we were in the last episode music segment. We were talking about David Cutter music. Mm-hmm. We're both big fans.
Been listening to him for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. And we were talking about wanting to add a little music to the podcast, and I suggested that you send him a DM on Instagram.
And so I did, and we got a response. And so this weekend, music brought to you by David Cutter Music.
#1 sponsor. I think it's incredible.
Episode 2, and we already are making partnerships. Whether or not he actually will see it, probably not. No. But still fun. It's,
I think most important is that he was nice in his response and super generous, which is always nice.
And what's great about it is for him, David Cutter Music's that's one of the first things we started listening to, and it really it's very representative of just music, us and our listening together, and it's very symbolic that we're now using it as so
yeah. We had a little power outage over there.
Yeah.
All right. So then next, I think the next thing we need to do is I want to run by a couple of show descriptions. Okay. So I think I was thinking, our YouTube listing, it could use a good thumbnail description.
This feels like things you tell me, and they don't need to hear maybe.
Well, also true. But here's what I want to share this because I think these are pretty funny. So what I did is I went to ChatGPT.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And I said, hey, I've got this new podcast. It's a father-son podcast.
Okay.
And I want you to describe it. And I was trying to think what's the voice that we want to describe it? And so I gave it three choices. You get to pick, or we can just trash them all.
Let me hear 'em.
First one is describe the podcast in the voice of Pat McAfee, ESPN.
Okay. Your fave?
One of my faves. I enjoy him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Here we go. In a high-energy collaboration that's as lively as a Pat McAfee show, a 51-year-old dad and his 18-year-old son kick off the This Weekend podcast. From tackling sports to jamming on the latest tunes and diving into curious questions, this dynamic duo brings a mix of generations, humor, and genuine curiosity to the airwaves, making it a must-listen for anyone looking for a good time and diverse conversation.
Just about then, he'd start singing a fight song and getting the crowd going.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
He would. Okay,
I like that.
All right, so the second one, I thought, that might not hit the mark. So let's get something a little more diverse here. Let's get a podcast description in the voice of Lil Yachty.
Okay, my fave.
I think I don't want to set your expectations too low, but I think you might be disappointed here. But
I'm probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah. I don't know if I can't quite read this in a straight face. Yo. Check it. We got this lit new podcast this weekend dropping with a 51-year-old OG dad and his 18 and his 18-year-old son. They're vibing on everything from sports to the hottest beats. And you know they're asking them wild, curious questions. It's like the ultimate blend of generations, fam. Sailing through topics like only they can. Tune in is going to be fire.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, and then the third
We
one.
need to get like an AI voice to read it.
Yeah. So I did a third one in the voice of Scott Galloway, who's like a business journal, like a professor at NYU who makes predictions. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that one. So
Okay.
Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think we
get into the hippest beats?
We should. Yeah, exactly. Yes, we should. But wait, before we do, this week another big change that we've got to the show is we've got a sponsor. So this week's sponsor is Athletic Greens. I think if you know me, you know that I love my Athletic Greens.
Oh yeah.
This is currently water, but it's made with a very unique blend of vegetables, multivitamins, probiotics, and more to help your gut health. Highly recommend.
It's really something that's just like up your alley. And when they came calling, we just had to say yes because you've just been such a loyal, dedicated fan.
That's right.
I don't see you go anywhere without that water bottle. That's frankly,
true. I go everywhere with
it's
water bottle.
Almost like one of your Horcruxes. Shout out Harry Potter.
Okay. If you had Harry Potter references at more than 1.5, then you're almost there. Okay. So let's get into we're getting into beats, right?
Let's get into beats.
Okay.
So we got some big releases that happened.
We do.
And my personal favorite, the new Jack Harlow song, Lovin' on Me. I love this song.
Why?
There's something about the sample, the way that his delivery is and his flow. Like, it brings me back to the days of What's Poppin'.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, I feel like he had a dip. Right. And I was worried. We were gonna have like a Roddy Ricch-esque fall off the map.
Wow.
Where he has a hit like The Box or What's Poppin', and then we just don't hear from him. But Jack Harleasy is back.
I'm a big fan. I don't think he really went anywhere. I know you think he had a dip. I think that's called life. I think that's different. This song is very good. The song is very, very good.
I've been playing it nonstop.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
You've been hearing it, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I haven't. But it's very good, and I think it's actually what I'm interested about this song is, does it have legs? Is it going to have the staying power of, some of the other songs that are sort of in the rotation consistently? That's a key question.
Well, can't wear it out too fast, but
well, you're certainly trying.
It's not good.
Okay. Did you listen to the Chris Stapleton album?
I gave it a rough listen. I didn't really go in depth.
Okay.
But, it's not really my thing. But I will say I did give it a listen. I enjoyed it. It felt very sad, though.
A lot of love songs.
A lot of love songs. And, for an album titled Higher, he feels like he's mentally not higher. He feels like he's just, like, sad, and that doesn't give higher vibes to me. I don't know.
Interesting. No,
that was what stuck out to me. But I will say there are some good songs, and I'm sure if I gave it another listen, it would be good. Still not as good as Starting Over, though.
Not as good as Starting Over. I agree. I think it's a little requires a few more listens. That's my takeaway was that weren't as many immediate songs that grabbed you and made you say, "Well, this is amazing."
Because you know what I did is I listened to that album, and then right after I played Starting Over, and I got 3 songs in, and like the first 3 songs are all just heaters.
Yeah, ridiculously good.
And like those songs are good on the first listen too. I feel like, which is the difference. I'm sure it'll be great over time though.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's one of those things too where you get when you start to build your catalog, right? I mean, this is probably a little bit true with Jack Harlow. It takes. You can't have just consistently the same type of song. Oh yeah. So I think this rounds out a little bit of the catalog for him.
What I did like to hear is the woman that did the backup songs, the backup singing in Starting Over is back with him. I heard her in a couple of songs, I believe.
Yeah.
And she has got a great voice. She's got some.
Yeah, it's a good thing that she's back because they're married.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's his wife.
Well, good thing they're back. Yeah.
Also, especially since he's singing love songs, it would be super.
It would be
awkward.
really weird if the. Yeah. I'm just saying. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But.
Right.
All right. The more you know.
The more you know.
Boom.
Okay. Do you have any music that's getting ready to drop that you're looking forward to?
I mean, I've just been seeing, like, apparently Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign have an album in the works.
Is that right?
Yeah. They're calling it Ye and Dollar, and then it's gonna be like the yen and then the dollar sign. I keep seeing things about it on my feed. Like, I saw like Kanye's like post or whatever, like where he's hanging out, and it looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
But I don't think the album will be coming anytime soon.
I'm not sure how I feel about him, given the context of.
I was
what's happening in
actually
the world
listening
today.
to the album Ye quite a bit recently.
I know. I'm talking about his social commentary. A little
Well, you
problematic.
know,
So,
his
but
social commentary is very sus.
more than that, but yes.
But actually, that brings me to a question I cooked up for you. I didn't
Okay.
write it down in my notes like you did. But Kanye, very controversial guy, but would be a good guest on the podcast.
Ooh,
So
no.
it would get views.
Okay, different.
Who is your dream guest on the podcast?
For music?
Realistic or unrealistic?
Like for just in general?
Just like who would you want to chop it up with?
Oh,
Shoot
my
the breeze.
goodness. I am unprepared to answer this question, but I think
I know, that's what I was hoping for.
you know, I mean, it's weird. I think a sports name kind of popped into my mind, like a Peyton Manning would be cool.
That's who I was thinking actually too.
Because it's
Peyton
going to
Manning.
be interesting to talk to him about how he's done so much work around this the production company that he has. I'd be interested to talk to him about like what it's like to play football where you know your neck, like you know it's the end,
Oh yeah.
and you know you're not performing as well, and yet
Yeah.
you decide you want to still do it. Like that's hard. It'd be like if you woke up to go to school and you know your paycheck was tied to school and you were just like I can't do this anymore, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, like to know you physically don't
Yeah.
like you're not as
Yeah.
yeah. That sounds rough.
I think
He's also just a funny guy.
yeah, for sure. I mean I think Bobby Burger's up there.
Oh yeah, Bobby Burger's up there.
I mean Bob does sports.
It's neither here nor there.
It's neither here nor there.
We're big fans of him.
Yeah, I think he'd be up there
Yeah, he would definitely.
because
Be up there.
it'd be fun.
It would be fun, and he knows his stuff too. Like I feel like he's well versed. Probably maybe not so much in music, but
You know, the articles I've read, though, there's been a couple profiles of him that are about like how he put together.
I would love for him to do a Bobby Eats of like your muesli or something.
Oh my goodness, that
He would have a day.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
I think he'd be pretty happy.
I think so.
I don't know. He's an interesting guy because he turned down Barstool. You know.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he was friends with Jerry.
But once they like shows like that, once they get bought out by Barstool, they always become like pushing messages or just like running ads, and it's just like not as good anymore. I feel like.
Yeah, well, you know.
That's being said, if Barstool
I mean,
come knocking,
says duo that just pushed an ad, but whatever, we're not judging.
right?
Was it a real ad though? Anyway, okay, okay. So any other music?
I got nothing.
No other music hot takes. Okay. I was just listening. I've got this one song stuck in my head. The theme song from the movie He Got Game.
What song is that?
Oh my gosh, I gotta play it for you. It's the movie, right, about Jesus Shuttleworth, starring Ray Allen.
Can't say I've ever seen it.
Oh boy, it's good. Okay, well we'll talk about that next episode, maybe.
Okay.
All right, it's a good segue though because it's a basketball movie,
Indeed.
right? We ready to go to sports?
Yeah, we are.
All right. What do you got?
Well, I think big weekend in the NFL.
Huge.
Like, but you know what matchup stuck out than most to me actually, as it pertains to like as we started going towards playoffs, is the Jaguars-Niners game.
Right.
Because I saw going into that game, it was like a 1.5 point spread, or like 3 points, and like I had seen online somewhere like someone picked like the Jaguars for the Super Bowl. Like I don't know who did that. I thought it was probably like a CBS Sports type of thing, and like it was like Jaguars, whatever. They're just picking Super Bowl winners, and like I'm hearing all this Jaguars hype, like ETN, so good, like they've got it together, and then the Niners just smoked them.
Yeah.
Like wasn't even close.
You know, I I think the Jaguars are a little overhyped. They're good, but why do you? Sometimes it just happens in the NFL, though. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they need another year to be a legit contender, but it's like them and the Texans, and like it's just like 2 years ago they sucked.
Yeah.
And now they're out there winning games against good teams.
Quarterbacks, man. It's a quarterback league.
Yeah.
But
Old Trey Law.
but I think, don't you think though? Like, I think the Jags are going to be there in the playoffs. I think they're going to be a very difficult out.
Well, I don't know the playoff picture, but yeah, I would seem so.
They're going to be a very difficult out.
Etienne's one of the best running backs in the game right now.
Yeah.
And if they're
Are you saying that because you bet your flip coin on him? Or?
Yeah, I did, and it didn't hit. But we don't need to talk about that.
Don't be mad at him.
But no, if their receiving core gets healthy, I think, yeah, they can be legit. Because I know I think they have a receiver out. He's on my bench of fantasy.
I think it's just, I think the Niners defense really, really good. So, it's a little bit.
Especially with Chase Young now.
Maybe.
Which actually, weren't you were impressed by the Washington defense, though.
I was. I thought that was a big takeaway for me. I think they, they traded their two best defensive linemen, Sweat and Young. They still got Jonathan Allen. They're good. Like, they're fundamentally pretty good.
I mean, bad break with the game result.
Oof.
But
I think, I'm interested in Sam Howell.
I don't know if I'm sold on him because I see like he's leading like something and like he's leading passing yards or whatever, like, but I don't know if he's that good.
I don't know that.
I think that if they need a better offensive line.
That's the problem. Yeah. But I mean, he's better than. I mean, I can tell you that the comparison between him and Heineke with the Falcons, like the relief of not having to watch Heineke.
Howell's just more exciting because he's a young player. And because he has, like, so many years left, Heineke's like...
No, he's young.
Okay, but he feels like a journeyman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he does. I think that's what's interesting. I'm not sure that the stats would say that Howell's that much better, but he seems much more consistent.
Yeah.
So, like, the mistakes he makes don't seem quite
especially playing with an offensive line of Swiss cheese.
Indeed. Okay. All right, so, I mean, also... you were going to be able to make the argument that C.J. Stroud had a more impressive week, but then Josh Dobbs just kept doing Josh Dobbs things.
I'm still sticking with C.J.
Wow.
I know there are people out there that stick with me out there on this one.
We did get some feedback.
We got some feedback and saying C.J. Stroud, like, the Bengals are a good team. Like, it's one thing for the Vikings to beat, like, whoever they beat, the Saints.
Yeah.
Saints... not really in the playoff picture, but the Bengals just beat the Bills. The Bengals are one of the best teams in the AFC.
Yeah, but you're making a team argument, and we were talking about individuals. So
you just said it was a quarterback league.
Also, I think the audience is going to appreciate you not pounding water into the mic. I just throw that out there.
I'm just really thirsty.
Okay.
You just said it was a quarterback league. You can't just go ahead and...
No, but we were
the quarterback
debating
makes
players
the team
versus teams.
The quarterback makes the team, I would argue. And would you not say Joey Brr is up there?
I would. I would say that. I don't think there's...
Because he got outplayed, frankly.
He did.
Like,
it's true.
And like, C.J. Stroud, all I'm going to say, deserves to be in the MVP race. And Josh Dobbs, while he's putting on impressive performance, is not MVP caliber.
That was the original question. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just making valid points.
You're just trying to change the argument, change the focal point of the argument. It's okay. We're gonna put a pin in that one.
All right. Okay. We'll come back. I'm sure we'll come back to it next week after C.J. Stroud has another 300 passing yard game.
Here's a continued pain point of mine. You ready? The question for you is: are we going to table that discussion, or are we going to shelve it? Because this is my annoyance. People say let's table that for later, but when in fact what they mean is they want to shelve it. Because when you want to table,
nobody says shelve it.
Well, that's what they should say.
Why? Is that what it means?
Yeah, put it on the shelf.
Put it on the table.
No, then we're going to talk about it.
Oh. All right, well, let's shelve it. Let's shelve. We're shelving this whole thing.
All right. Okay, ready? I have a question. So we were talking about your team, And you said that
My lacrosse team.
that's correct. So
Okay,
this is a team in the Northern Virginia
Class
Class
6A.
6A division.
Yeah.
All right.
Public schools.
The question I have for you is, you said that the team had a good vibe, a real good team vibe,
team
and you
had a
think
good
that you're
vibe.
going to have a good year. And my question for you is, you've read the book The Captain Class.
I
as
sure
have I,
have.
one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
I want to know, from a team dynamic, what's changed, if anything, that you can notice right now. And what is it like in the locker room?
Well, we haven't been in the locker room
Well,
yet.
I know, but
I think what it is like my graduating class, there's like 20 players in the program that are seniors with me as a senior. And there's just something different about going into a year knowing no matter how well you do, no matter what you do, it is your last. And it'll be the last time, however it ends, playing with the group of guys. And like, I think that means a lot to a lot of people on the team because we've all been playing together for so long. And like, that just, And I think there was part of that last year, but last year we were young as a team, I think, in a lot of parts. And the seniors weren't as quite knit together because there weren't as many of them, I think, if that makes sense.
So the thing I'm interested about in a high school team dynamic is it's so much harder to hold people accountable in high school.
Oh, yeah. It was terrible. I was having a conversation about this, actually.
Really?
With Evan, because he was at Severna Park, and he was talking about how at Severna Park, they all had to wear the same exact thing to practice. Like, you either wore shorts. If you wore shorts, everyone had to wear shorts. If you wore sweatpants, everyone had to wear sweatpants. And it had to be the same pair of sweatpants. Like, everyone had to be matching for every practice, or else you'd run.
Who get to mix that? Who, the captains?
No, the team has to decide.
Okay.
He was saying, like, if it was over 50, you wore shorts, like something like that. They figured it out. And then, like, at the liftings, like, everybody's there. It wasn't mandatory, but, like, you had to go. Which is, like, interesting because it's not mandatory at lifting here, but, not many people go.
And what do you think about that? I mean, you're a senior. You've been playing on this team for a couple years, right?
Yeah. I mean,
is it disappointing?
it's disappointing, but then again, it's just like...
So what keeps you from sending a message being like, we've lost in the state, we lost in the state semis, right? You've gone far, but
we went state semi, state quarters.
Right.
Lost them both.
So the trend line is that you're going to lose in the regional finals, regional semis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what keeps you or anybody else on the team, for that matter, to say we're going to change this? I mean, I'm not saying y'all have to wear the same. Well, we're all going to lift. Like, if you want playing time, like to be player led.
That is the question. I don't really have an answer for that.
I think that's what's so interesting to me about high school sports is that
because it's hard. You can't be like everyone has to go to lifting. Like, I can't say that because people are gonna be like,
well, who are you?
Exactly. And then like they have other stuff to do. It's not a private school where practice is part of the curriculum, or like people have other things to do. People just like. If I was a bench warmer and had no shot of playing, why would I want to go to a practice?
Because it's fun to be a part of a winning team.
And that's why I go. But, some people don't share those views.
But I think there's something to be said, though, for the 15 kids that are in the rotation that all claim to want to win. I mean, here's the thing that I don't understand. It's asymmetrical because walking off the field...
That's the problem we're going to have to deal with this year, though.
Walking off the field at the end of the last season, losing to Robinson. Everybody's crying.
Yeah. For me, though, I wasn't sad necessarily that we didn't win. It's more like, and that's what people, I think, confuse. The difference between winning and, like, for me, it's more the season's over. I don't get to go have practice and have fun with my guys every day.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what I love about it, is the way that it brings people together. Not necessarily the winning. Because the winning will happen if you're having fun. But, I just got to have the culture first.
I will say I agree with everything you said, but I think you left out something major though.
What's that?
Because the winning will come with the hard work
With
and
the hard
fun.
work. But I think the hard work is a lot easier when you're having fun.
Right, but without accountability, you're missing the hard work.
Yeah. And, it's a careful line you gotta teeter-totter on.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a second sports question for you.
Shoot.
I don't know if you saw this, but the North Carolina State quarterback, the starting quarterback for North Carolina State was Brennan Armstrong, who transferred from Virginia.
I'm familiar.
He's a fifth, sixth year or something. Senior.
He's old.
Reunited with the offensive coordinator from Virginia, who's now at NC State.
Robert and I?
Mm-hmm.
Hate that guy.
Wow. Okay, you don't like him because he made a couple.
No,
bad
just
picks.
because the one Virginia Tech game that we were watching, and then I cried after.
Yeah.
And I just threw a complete fit, and I wanted to go home.
Yeah, from New York.
Yeah.
And you stomped outside. And you said they should fire him. And I was like, you can't be rooting for people to lose their jobs. The guy's got a family. But anyway, here's the deal.
Young and immature.
Okay. So
that was also like 5 years ago.
you also you come down
Stand
on the
by
right.
that.
You
I
come down on
stand
the
by
right
that.
side of history as it relates to your anger at the play calling. Maybe not your solution, but in any case, so he goes there. He starts the first 3 or 4 games, and then they bench him.
They benched him?
Yep.
For who?
For this other kid I'm not going to name because I don't know his name.
Okay.
And he becomes the starter for
I'm not gonna name because
4 games, taking the high road.
yeah.
He becomes a starter for 4 games, okay? And then he decides he's going to redshirt. And he just pulls the ripcord on his season and tells the coach, I'm sitting out for the rest of the year. And now they're back to Brennan Armstrong. How do you feel about that?
If I'm Brennan, well, what is my perspective here? Who am I? Am I an NC State fan? Am I?
Yeah. I mean, you're just some guy paying attention to the news.
I'm not very closely because I didn't know about this. That is fascinating, though. I think, like, kind of putting me on the spot with this one because this is like a deep. It probably feels cruddy for Armstrong.
Yeah.
And, like, he can't transfer again. Like, because that would be. I mean.
Yeah, but now he's got the starting job back. So he's psyched.
But they stink.
I mean, they're fine. They're better than UVA. But the other kid, what's up? If you're on the team and this kid
that's weird though. Yeah,
that's weird, right? And he claims he's not going to transfer. Says he's going to stay. Just wants
if
to
he
preserve his
stays,
year
then
of
it's a different
eligibility.
story.
Is it? Why? What about this year's team? It's the same question. It's like
because maybe he thinks he has a better chance going forward, and he knows that the team isn't this year, but he sees the freshmen in the weight room. And he's like, these guys are good. I want to play with these guys. But the seniors, he's like, I don't mess with the seniors.
That's not how teams work.
I'm not. Well, this team doesn't work like a team. It's clearly dysfunctional.
I mean,
A team. Okay, if it's operating like a team, the starting quarterback doesn't just say, "I'm not the quarterback anymore. I'm not playing."
I mean, right? But
if I'm the coach and he does that, I'm like, I don't want you here. Transfer, leave.
Oh, but that's tough.
I mean, I don't know how good he is. If he's good, good.
He beat out Brennan Armstrong.
Brennan Armstrong's good too. I thought.
I know.
Why? I have no idea for that on that one. That you stumped me. You might have to come back to me next week on that one.
Okay. All right. Well.
Wow.
Does that wrap up our segment on sports?
Yeah, I think it might.
Okay. We're gonna keep coming back to this team concept. I'm really interested in this idea around accountability.
You're fascinated by it, aren't you?
That's all I think about at work. And I think the dynamics of interpersonal dynamics are really interesting because I think in high school, what's interesting to me is that you guys are friends and you hang out, but high school is really hard. It's awkward. There's all these dynamics around this friend group and that friend group, and then there's girls and hormones, and you don't know who you are as an adult yet. You're still maturing, and then you put this group of people together, and sometimes you catch lightning in a bottle where the team can be self-led and highly successful, and sometimes you have a bunch of talented kids who have all the skill in the world who just can't quite get it over the hump, and the difference is interesting.
Yeah. And it's such a fine difference too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of talent difference between the top, let's call it 4 teams in the northern part of the state. There's a couple
top
standouts,
3,
but
I don't know.
But high school
could
sports
go either way.
Sure.
Like, you really have no idea. But I will say, this weekend coming up, though, the tournament that Madlax is hosting should be a good gauge to see where we're at. It would be interesting.
All right. So I think next sports segment we're gonna have some rankings. It's gonna be exciting. It's not gonna be about teams you've never heard of either.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be great.
Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Moving on. Next segment this weekend.
My mind.
Okay. You go first.
I go first.
Mm-hmm. Because you're the answer to my question for you is gonna be very short.
Oh. Gosh, I don't know if I really have anything.
Okay.
I had something, but then I forgot.
That's good content right there.
That's great, and I don't typically get cold feet like this, I swear. But you start, and I'll think of it.
Well, so my question for you is, what's the last complete book that you read?
Do you want to log a guess?
Oh. I feel like I know this actually. Great Gatsby. You didn't read it cover to cover though.
No, I didn't read it cover to cover.
Okay, so
Harry
hope
Potter.
your teachers are Harry Potter. You just reread it though, right?
Well, I think it's the most is Deathly Hallows. The 7th one is the most recent completed cover to cover book.
Okay.
But I am in the process of starting over with the Sorcerer's Stone.
And so my question for you is, why would you pick a book that you've read already versus something new?
Because it's the greatest series of all time.
Okay. I mean,
I also don't really have any other books that I would read. And for the record, when I say I'm reading The Sorcerer's Stone, it means I started reading it, and then I've just gotten so busy, it's sat in my backpack. And I haven't made any progress recently.
But you are carrying it with you to and from school.
I actually just took it out of my backpack.
So,
I had been carrying it.
It's been demoted. That's sad.
But,
I
also just took out
a
lot of papers out of my bag, and with it came the book. Maybe when I put those papers back in, the book will come too.
Let me ask you a different question.
Okay.
How does it make you feel to hear that someone carried around the greatest book from the greatest literary series, allegedly, according to you, of all time? They just discarded it from their backpack and no longer carry it around.
Well, you're setting me up here. You're setting me up. But it makes me feel like I don't know the whole story. That person might have something going on.
Good save.
Okay? I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
That person might be handling tough coursework, a lot of college applications, and maybe they just don't have time to read a book. But then again, I would also assume, since it's the greatest series of all time, they've probably read it.
Yeah.
The whole series multiple times and are probably well versed in every bit of trivia there is.
Okay. Don't take the bait. Okay. All right. So then the next question is let's talk about the college application process.
Okay. This was requested by your friends, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And this is a two-parter though. I think we got to how hard was it for you to decide? We went on a college trip.
We
looked at some schools in the Northeast that were smaller, so 2,000 students or less, high academic, strong lacrosse programs, medium lacrosse programs, low lacrosse programs, all right manner of schools. How difficult was it for you to decide that lacrosse was no longer going to be the primary thing that you were using? I'm assuming that that's what you were doing.
Yeah. I can't really say the decision was... I made the decision because it was kind of made for me. Because I reached out to all those schools, didn't really hear much.
Sure.
So there came a point in time where I had to be like, this isn't really happening. And as much as I wanted to happen, and as much as I would have loved to play to some of those schools, it's also really cold up there. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I underestimated how cold it was.
Oh, well, I feel like you're missing a part.
You're right.
Oh, can you say that a little louder?
No.
Okay.
But no, it's cold up there.
Yeah, it was cold.
And like, while I say I like the cold, I don't like the snow.
No, you
and
like
that's like,
you like temperate.
no, like, I like the weather right now. I love the weather right now. Like 40s, 50s.
Temperate.
Temperate to me is like 60s, 70s.
Okay, fine.
Temperate's like indoors.
All right.
But I like it to be just on the cold enough side, so if you're moving around, it feels good. But if you're just going for a walk, you got to bundle up.
Fair enough. So you think the decision was more made for you. So let me ask you this then. How painful was that sort of reconciliation? It's a little bit of a rejection.
It was hard.
Yeah.
But then again, like, I'm very happy with where my situation is and how my applications are going, and what, like, where I think I'll end up is, like, I'm very, very satisfied.
But you, in theory, you could say, I want to go to one of those places and try to make the team still.
I could, and I think I could make the team at some of those places.
I mean, we watched a game.
I'm pretty certain I could make a team.
There's a couple schools you could definitely make the team.
But that's just that's a lot of work.
That was one of the things. Like, that was some FU we got, which was you being like, I mean, I love basketball, but I mean, I do not want to practice every day.
No, I don't. And like, I love lacrosse. I love lacrosse. Trust me. But I don't know if I can handle the first, like, I also don't really know how it works. Just gonna go ahead, disclaimer that. But like, the first bit of getting used to college on top of, because if I'm gonna try and make a team, I'm gonna have to like commit to doing that, and I don't think I can do that with everything else that would be going on.
Okay.
And also, it just sounds like really fun to just go down south and play club.
Sure. It probably is.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully I get to find out.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Anything else?
You know, I'm really struggling here because I wanted to have like a brain teaser for you, or like something that's been puzzling me, but I have nothing.
I mean, it's okay. We're only 2 episodes into a Studio Guaranteed 12 series.
I think we're well on our way because we both were the whole week in between recording this one and the last one have been telling each other we got things for the podcast. I'm excited to do it.
Right.
Like, I think we are well on our way.
And
I personally am well on my way to a microphone upgrade. Maybe.
Well, so say more there. I think that's certainly the maybe the other than the concern around the helicopter content, I think.
I mean, the helicopter content's getting a little bit too much hate. It's getting too much hate.
No, it's just that it's a
very
out of
sensitive
concern. It's a very sensitive topic. So let's move on. Okay,
fair enough.
So the second most amount of feedback was that people thought you should just get a microphone.
Maybe we should start a GoFundMe.
Maybe
we should just start a GoFundMe.
No, that's begging.
I'm just kidding.
We don't need to do that.
We can go halvesies on a microphone.
That's a good opening offer. I've already told you that the microphone has to get earned through, a number of episodes.
But we gotta start doing bits.
I think we got more work to do.
I need to personally come up with something for this week in my mind. For me to deserve a microphone.
This week,
out of this week's performance, I don't deserve it right now.
How would you grade this week in?
I think we're hitting our stride. Okay. I will say, I didn't have anything prepared. I was kind of not ready, but I guarantee you, as soon as we hit stop, I'll think of something. So, but I think, B+ for myself, A for you.
Well, I got an A this week. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, you're very prepared.
Yeah, I still a lot of topics left still. I'm excited for the rankings. I think
What the rankings gonna be on? You gotta clue me in.
I mean, the rankings are gonna be on uniforms.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited.
Little teaser here.
Ready?
Excited. So we're gonna talk about what makes a good single color uniform versus a multicolor.
And
one.
You hate a single color uniform.
I don't hate it. I just think that some are overplayed and not worth it, and then others.
Okay, let's not get into it too much.
Right. I mean, this is.
I can see you just boiling,
frothing at the mouth for this topic. Also, I think that here's what I'll say: you have a week to come up with a bigger uniform disgrace than the University of Virginia going from the national championship winning basketball uniforms. So the next time they trot out onto the court, they wear basically the Nike Page 4 Garden Variety unis.
The Kansas Jayhawks football uniforms this past week had me frustrated.
Okay, so but this is we're going to talk about this because you know what? The Kansas Jayhawks football uniforms had the most. It was like a unicorn. Here's why.
You shouldn't have brought up the fact that we're talking about uniforms because now we're going to spoil all of our content.
Listen to this. The Jayhawks got it wrong on colors, on logo, and font. It's hard to do. It's a trifecta.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But then again, what they're working with is hard.
I mean,
because
maybe.
the brand logo is in that logo, so you got to put it on there.
No, you don't. Not in the numbers. Listen, you trying to be a tough football team? Don't put serifs on your font. Come on, it's 101. It's uniform.
Nobody knows what serifs is.
Yeah,
we're gonna put something on the screen. What is a serif? Just for those who, like I, don't know what it is, and we'll have to look it up.
SERIF.
There's
two kinds of fonts: serif and sans serif. Sans being French, also something you should know but don't. Without. It's the little tick mark. It's like Times New Roman versus Helvetica. I could go on for days. Love fonts.
And next week maybe we will.
Okay. And that's it.
I think we got to do it. Cue the new outro music.
Let's do this.